I created Nothing's Off the Table to inspire real hope and change for people struggling with addiction, and for those already in recovery who are looking to continue to grow. We share raw, honest stories, including the darkest moments, not to glorify drugs, alcohol, or gambling, but to show where addiction can take us. And more importantly, that it doesn't have to end there. Recovery is possible, change is possible, and if someone else made it out, so can you. I hope you enjoy today's episode. Another episode, Nothing's Off the Table. I have a young lady in here. Her name is Neva Coleman. She is sober. And we got connected through the one and only Kevin Lanning, a.k.a. Pookie. Pookie Lanning. And shout out Pookie. And love your content. Love what you put out. Very real and authentic. But I think what's most important is that you put out a really good message of recovery. And we were just talking a little bit offline about this. Just like the whole sober space is kind of on social media, kind of like blowing up. But there's a lot of people that I feel like you can tell aren't doing the deal. I think you're doing the deal. And that's why I like having you on today. I'm excited to hear your story. I don't know if you were born an alcoholic, but I'm curious to find out how that happened to you. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing, where you're from.
What I've learned about alcoholism is that it's a progressive disease. My first drink was not, a big blackout or anything crazy. It really was like over time going from alcohol use to misuse to abuse. I had a lovely upbringing. I grew up in a nice town, a suburban town in New Jersey, on the Jersey Shore in Monmouth County. I lived with my mom and my brother. My dad was killed on 9/11, as was his younger brother, who he hired, and they both passed away. But that didn't really start to affect me. I didn't know anything different, so it didn't affect me until I was about 10 years old. And it affects me way more now in my adult life than it ever has, which I will come back to later. But otherwise, I had a really lovely childhood. I'm very fortunate. I was well educated. I always got enough attention. I had a great upbringing. No complaints. I don't think my upbringing really had anything to do with my alcoholism. I do believe that I just have the gene. It runs in my family. I'm Irish Catholic. A lot of addicts and alcoholics throughout my family. So the gene landed on me.
Was your dad a firefighter?
No, he worked at Cantor Fitzgerald, which I believe the office is right here.
Yeah, that's crazy. My mom actually does the, the 9/11 fundraiser they do every year, where all of the celebrities and stuff go to the office and call.
Oh, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, my mom does that every year with a bunch of other people. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
When did you start to drink and figure out that maybe you did have a problem?
My first drink was I think I was maybe 14. I was at a sleepover with two of my friends. We snuck peach schnapps and green apple liqueur, which we thought was actual real liquor, which it's kind of not. I mean, I can't have it now, but and we tried a little. And that was it. It was a little exciting, but I didn't start really drinking after that. I was a really, really, really uptight kid. I always had to have straight A's, be a great athlete. I put a lot of pressure on myself. When I was in high school, my mom would come into my room and rip textbooks out of my hand because I wouldn't stop studying. And if I was late to practice, I had a category 5 meltdown once because I was late to practice one time, and I was 15, and my mom was you have some level of anxiety that is very foreign. So drinking didn't really fit into my mold of who I wanted to be. And I had this debilitating perfectionism. And my first addiction actually was not to substances. It was an eating disorder. I had a really bad one throughout high school. It went on for a while, but my mom sort of nipped it in the bud when I was 16, and I went into intense therapy, nutritionist, support group, all of the above. I just had this debilitating thought process around eating. There was anorexia, bulimia, exorexia, like all of these control things. And alcohol didn't fit into my diet either. So I didn't want to waste calories on drinking. So I didn't drink a ton at that time. My eating disorder sort of fed into my alcoholism. I started to like heal from the eating disorder and started to maybe like try and have some fun and not be so uptight. And like when I did try alcohol, I realized that I like wasn't thinking about food or wasn't thinking about like my grades or, getting into college or things like that. And so I think my drinking picked up as like, I realized that I could use it as an escape. In the beginning, it made me a lot more fun, a lot cooler. I was not fun. I was not cool at all. I was so serious. And I definitely like got more attention and stuff like that. When I started drinking, I started throwing parties and like getting into trouble kind of felt good because it was so like foreign to me. And so I guess like by senior year of high school, it started to pick up, but it still wasn't a problem then. It was like, I think the way that I thought about alcohol and the way I used it as an escape instead of like a supplemental, something you do like to let loose a little bit. I think the reaction that I had to alcohol definitely started to be a little bit abnormal because I started to like kind of become a different person. But like towards the end of my drinking, that's where it was like problem.
Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to Tulane University in New Orleans.
Not a lot of drinking going on down there.
That's where it went from misuse to abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had finally got into the college I wanted to, and I was like, all right, here I am. Like, I've done all the work. I did so much to get here. And that's when my drinking really, really picked up. I started drinking a lot heavier, a lot more frequently, started blacking out more regularly, started going on like full-on benders. And I still didn't have like a really negative consequence. Like I kept my grades good. And I think maybe I used the way that I was in my daily life as an excuse for the way that I drank. And like I started to try drugs and other things. I don't know if you're familiar with Tulane culture, but there's a lot of whippets. It's like a huge thing at Tulane. So like that's something that I got into and I didn't realize like that wasn't normal. Like we would go and we would buy like packs, like 50 packs before the weekend and then like the balloon and the cracker. And I just like be doing like a bunch before going out.
I used to get the tanks that you'd get from the dentist office. I used to get the tanks.
That's extreme.
Yeah, I used to get the tanks delivered and it would be just like hours upon hours of constant like
oh my God, the noise.
Yeah, I
haven't done a whip in so long.
Mia's sitting over there and she's making faces because she fucking hated it. And literally it was just like me and my two degenerate best friends and we would just be walking around the house like with the balloon in our mouth. What do you call it? It was called fishing out, or like you'd breathe in the balloon and you'd exhale and you breathe it in until you like fished out or whatever. Yeah.
You're like 5 seconds of relief.
I honestly like never liked whippets, even when I was doing them. Like I never did whippets until my friends were like, oh yeah, we get nitrous tanks from a dentist.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was wild.
Yeah.
They're
fun though.
Yeah.
Don't do them though.
No.
If you're watching this, don't do whippets. Don't get into it.
Honestly, at that point in my drug use, if there was a line of Parmesan cheese, I would have snorted it. Like I didn't care. I just didn't want to sit with my thoughts and my feelings, and anything to just get out of self, I was doing, and it was really just really dark time for me. College was a very similar experience. Like you, just started casually and it kind of trickled up to that, and everything was like a new experience. It was like your first time doing a Xanax or first time doing an Oxycontin, and then you love this feeling because we have that ism that's in us that has now been activated and we don't know what's going on. All we know is that we just feel really fucking good.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's like one of the moments in college where maybe you were concerned for yourself, like, oh, this just happened, maybe I have a problem. I get messages all the time from people saying they don't know where to start in their recovery, that they feel lost. I've been there before. That's why I've teamed up with Banyan Treatment Centers. They help people find their light again. It's not about shame or labels. It's about getting your life back. Look, guys, I don't partner with just anybody. I truly believe in the brand and the work they're doing. Banyan is compassionate people who actually care about helping you heal. So if that's where you are right now, reach out. Call the number in my description or send me a message, and I'll personally make sure you get connected to the right people. You're not alone, and this could be the moment your life starts to change.
So it's interesting that I didn't have those realizations because of what I did while I was drinking. It was always the mental health consequences that came afterwards, because the truth is I don't remember majority of what happened. Like my blackouts became very quick. I would often be blacked out before we even got to the bar. Like the pregame, I would be blacked out before we even got there. So a lot of my nights, I don't really remember anything. It's more not even firsthand account, but what someone would tell me that I did or something that happened or the condition I woke up in. And most of the time I would either wake up drunk or in a panic, or it'd be I'd wake up drunk and hazy, and then the panic would start to set in. And sometimes I let that feeling happen. Sometimes I would start drinking again. I had really debilitating mental health consequences from drinking. I want to say every single Sunday, at least my junior and senior year, I was suicidal. There was one time that I called a suicide hotline. That was after a 3-day bender. I was drinking starting Thursday night through Saturday at about 4 or 5 a.m. And I woke up the next day and I was in the worst place I've ever been in my life. And I called the suicide hotline. And that was probably the first moment that I actually took a look at my drinking. I don't really know what happened in the past couple of days. I knew that I drank and I blacked out. And I knew that I was drinking straight through every day. But a lot of people at my school were doing that. I knew that I was, there were other drugs and there were whippets and there were things like that going on. But I didn't take a look at my drinking because of what had happened that night. I had taken a look at my drinking because I called a suicide hotline. There are a lot of really bad drunk incidents. The one I faced probably the worst consequences from other people. So one time I was found behind my house and my roommates thought I was dead. I have no idea how I got there. I don't even remember what I was doing that night. I just know that they said I didn't come home and they checked my location. My location was home and they checked my room. They were she's not here. And so one of them, I guess, thought to go outside and I was behind my house face down and they couldn't wake me up. And I guess one of them stayed in my room with me they guess they got me into my house. I don't know how, because we lived upstairs, a huge staircase. I don't know how they got me inside. I think one of them slept with me. I don't really remember. And checked my pulse all night, basically. But it wasn't enough to scare me to stop drinking. I was sorry and I bought them dinner and I was scared, but it didn't scare me enough to stop drinking.
Did you consider consider stop drinking?
No.
Or you were just...
That wasn't, I didn't treat not drinking ever as an option.
Wow.
Sobriety didn't ever occur to me, to be honest. I would only take breaks. I almost drank the following night. And then my friend was it is very scary. This is one of the most powerful things anyone ever said to me. She said, it is very scary to see someone who's so level-headed turn into a completely different person. She was it is really terrifying to watch. And that's the only reason I didn't drink that night, but I drank the following weekend. I couldn't be stopped.
Yeah.
I had so many near-death experiences, traumatized so many people and myself, and I still wouldn't stop.
What's the story about you on the cruise?
Ugh. The thing that says deny on board.
Yeah.
That's a really bad story.
I need to hear
it's
that one.
I the only funny thing about that story is that photo. But it actually is really traumatizing. And I have made amends, but I haven't gotten to the 9th step. So I have to make formal amends to my friend for this. So when I graduated college, I Oh, okay. I'll go back a little bit. I had a separate incident, lost my passport at a casino because I blacked out at the casino, and I had already lost my wallet, and I brought my passport to the casino and it was gone. But regardless, I planned a 3-week trip to Europe with no passport, and somehow I made it happen, and I got a passport the day that I left for Europe. But anyway, I was going to Europe on a trip with my friends after college graduation. I was so depressed, drinking every single day, had been like basically for weeks, and I drank every single day of that trip. The first leg of the trip was a cruise. We went to Barcelona, Ibiza, Mallorca, like Cannes, I don't know, a bunch of different places. There was like, so the cruise, we got like an $800 beverage credit. We ran through it pretty quickly. It was like I think it was like a 5-day cruise. I think on day 3, it was already like gone. And oh my God, this story like isn't funny, but like it is so funny. Basically I was there with my 2 friends from high school. I'm very close with my friends from growing up. We were on the cruise, and we had gone to like a club in the cruise, like it was on the boat, and we went to it, and I was there with my 2 friends. I start like ripping shots. My other friend is like taking a shot with me. The other one's like, no, we have like a wine tour and lunch tomorrow. Like, I'm not going to be ripping shots tonight. I just couldn't be stopped. I always wanted to. Anyway, my other friend, like, she says she's going to the bathroom, but she Irish exited and went back to the room. So I'm there alone in this club for like 30 minutes talking to this like random girl. And she's like, where did your friends go? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like super drunk. And she's like, okay, like, well, if you want to come back, like I am in like the penthouse of the cruise, and like I have a hot tub, and like we can just like, instead of being in the club, like we can go in the hot tub and like keep drinking. And I was like, sure, sounds good. Like this girl's like my age, normal, whatever. The last thing that I remember is pouring just straight tequila into a cup and sitting in the hot tub. And the next thing I remember is waking up. I have no idea what happened, but my friend like woke me up in the morning, and we had to literally go on a wine tour, which I drank the entire day after this. I went to the wine tour. I was blackout drunk. And then we went to this lunch. Like I jumped in the ocean in my clothes, like a whole thing. Barely made it back onto the cruise. Like it was going to leave without me. I was there like 5 minutes shy of it leaving. During that block of time that I don't remember, apparently there was a bang on our door in the middle of the night, and some British man was carrying basically like my corpse back to the room, and I was just in a bathing suit. And there was this security woman who was like yelling at him and like banging on our door. And apparently I was found on like a beach chair somewhere by myself, and this man carried me back. And my friend had to check my pulse all night because like she also like, I was like appearing dead. And so when I'd gotten back onto the cruise, like blackout drunk, they wouldn't let me on. It had that thing that said, it was literally my photo ID, and it said deny on board. And I was like panicking because I didn't know what had happened. And they like pulled me aside, and they like kind of had like a conversation with me, but I kind of didn't like understand the nature of the conversation. And then I like, because I was really drunk, and then I like talked to them again, and they were like, we want to make sure you're okay because like you were basically naked and like a man carried you back to your room. Like, did something happen? And I just kind of was like, no, nothing happened. Like, I'm all good. Thank you. I was like, is this like deny onboard thing? Like, am I okay to get back on? And they were like, yes, we're just making sure you're okay. And then like after that, I was like, I don't think anything happened, but I actually have no idea. I assume not. I don't think he would have carried me back to my room if something had happened, but the truth is I actually have no idea what happened in that period of time, because all I remember is sitting in the hot tub with a cup of tequila and then waking up in the morning. That was terrifying, but it actually was one of 2 terrible incidents on that trip. So I continued drinking all day the next day and every day for the rest of the trip. That was only like day 5 of a 3-week trip. The next blackout, or the next really bad blackout was maybe like on the third to last day of the trip. We were in Croatia. We went to this club I think it's like a museum by day, club by night, whatever. Didn't matter where I was blackout drunk. And I ended up somehow by myself at 6 o'clock in the morning on like a bench somewhere. I guess I had tried to get I guess I wouldn't go home. I tried to get myself home, but I must have put like the wrong address, or I don't even know what I was taking, Uber, cab. I don't even know if they have Uber in Croatia, but I ended up on a park bench somewhere random by myself, like blackout drunk, and somehow got back to the hotel by like, 7 a.m. And I'm like, I'm starving. I'm stealing my dress, like my makeup's all over my face. And I just go and like sit at one of the tables that was open for breakfast. They had just opened. And I sit down at a table with the only other person at brunch. And it's this random Polish guy who is pouring Captain Morgan in his coffee. So he and I have breakfast together. I'm still blackout drunk. And he's complaining about how he hates his girlfriend the entire time that he's on the trip with. And he's pouring whiskey in his coffee. I don't know why I wasn't also partaking, but I decided to just stick to coffee and food. And then I go back to my room. I sleep for like 2 hours. My friend wakes me up. She's like, we got to go, because we like had plans that day. And there's like actually a really funny photo of me face down in my suitcase because I was trying to pack like blackout drunk and like all this stuff is all over. And then we like get on a boat, go to this island, and I drink again. And because I was still drunk when we got there. And then I like passed out and like missed the whole day basically. And after that, I like woke up and I just kind of had a moment. I was like, this is really bad. And I didn't leave the hotel room for the last 2 days of the trip. I couldn't leave. I was like sweating, shaking, so anxious, so depressed. Like I was totally suicidal. I was kind of having like a post-grad identity crisis with like, I'm still doing this shit. And I didn't have a job at that point. Like I was just in Europe, like I was like, what am I doing with my life? And it was like the end of the trip, the last night, and it was my friend's birthday, my poor friend. And she was like, you have to get up. Like you have to get out of the room. Like you have to get up. And so I got up, I went to dinner, and like they were all having wine and stuff. And she was like, do you want any? And I was like, I don't think I can ever drink again. Go home after that, like the next day, next weekend's 4th of July, I'm drinking again. It was always like that.
This was last summer?
2 summers ago. It was always like that. I would have a horrible, horrible experience, bender, withdrawal, suicidal ideation, and pick up a drink again. Like nothing could stop me from drinking. Nothing scared me.
That's this disease though. And I've experienced that myself. I shared at a meeting today, and I was like in my therapy, and like it just came to my mind of all the times that I'd be alone, like tweaked out by myself, being like, this is it. I'm done. Like not doing this again tomorrow. Done. I can't believe I'm here. And then tomorrow comes and I'm doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it's scary. Then you're really living in fear, and like you don't even know you're living in fear because you're in this cycle of addiction and the disease, and your mind is just, one side of your mind is selling you shit, and the other half of it is buying the shit. And then, you're a prisoner. That's really what it is. We become prisoners of our own mind. But the good news is that there is a solution. Yes.
Addiction. Ugh. I never thought I would ever like use that word to like describe my experience, but that's what it is. It took me a very long time to accept that.
When did you get sober?
So my official sobriety date is May 18th of 2025. But my alcohol-free sobriety date is December 22nd of 2024. So I basically stopped drinking first and stopped smoking second. Alcohol was my issue. Totally addicted to alcohol, horrible consequences from alcohol. Smoking weed and like gummies, stuff like that was just a way to not be sober completely. Yeah. So I was doing that for a little bit just to not be sober. I was like riding the California sober wave. And then a few months had gone by and it like honestly wasn't having the same effect. And I was just kind of like, I think I need to be done with everything. And my last ever like substance was like 2 sips of some THC soda I bought at a bodega, and I like had 2 sips of it and I just kind of like felt weird. I was like, this tastes terrible and I just don't think I want to be like using anything anymore, to be honest. Like I think at this point I know that any substance I have, like I will eventually become addicted to it. Like I can't have anything like nicotine. Well, I have cigarettes once in a while if I'm having a really bad day, but like no vaping. I'm an addict. I have an addict mind. Anything that makes me feel good for a temporary period of time, I'm addicted to. Like that's the temporary relief is like, it's an obsession.
Yeah.
That's what brings you back to it. No matter how many times, like I had a toxic relationship with alcohol, no matter how many bad things that happened to me from it, no matter how bad it made me feel, I held on to that 1 to 2 hour period, maybe, that it made me feel some kind of relief, despite having, 48, 72 hour periods after that of feeling exponentially worse.
I used to hold on to like the times where I wasn't an addict yet. I was like, oh, those times were so good.
Yeah, before it got bad.
Yeah. It's like I tell people all the time that for me as the addict I am, like my mind, when it thinks back to like gambling or drinking or drugging, like it brings me back to the times where I was in a casino winning money. Life was great. It was like picture perfect moment. And it doesn't bring me to the other 90. Like that was one time out of 100. And the other 99 times was gambling till my last penny was gone. Walking around borrowing money from my friends, knowing I couldn't pay them back. Wanting to fucking kill myself. And, eventually it's just, it's all or nothing. You got to give it all up, or you're just going to keep bopping around to the other things. When did you start going to AA?
I started going to AA. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit to my timeline.
Yeah, please.
So I first stopped drinking. I took a year off of drinking after college, not in an attempt to get sober, but in an attempt to reset my relationship with alcohol. I was advised by a therapist and my mom to take 90 days off drinking. And I think now I'm looking back on it, it was an attempt to get me fully sober, but I wasn't willing to do that. So my mom was like, you can either stop drinking for 90 days or you're going to rehab. And I was like, I don't want to go to rehab. I don't want to go to rehab. I'll stop drinking for 90 days. So I did it. And then I felt amazing. I was still smoking, but I felt amazing from the not drinking. And so I kicked it to a year. And then at the end of the year, I was good and confident that I had cracked the code. And I had read every book, listened to every podcast, read every article, done enough therapy. And I thought I could outsmart this disease. I was a psychology major, ironically. I thought if I learned everything about it, certainly when I had a drink again, I would be able to control it. And that's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. My drinking behavior after that year was just as bad, if not worse consequences. More frequent blackouts, quicker blackouts, longer withdrawals, more severe withdrawals. There was a 2 to 3 month period between that quote unquote break and when I actually got sober that I was drinking. And that was a horrible time period. So I eventually was that's it. It's over. It's done. Stopped drinking. Couple months later, stopped smoking. Couple months later, went to AA. I didn't walk into my first AA meeting until I was 9 months sober from alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah, I had this ego thing that I was never going to meet another 24-year-old girl with a drinking problem, which is so not true. I've met so many amazing women who are around. Most of them actually are older than me, but still in their 20s, young, fun, cool. We all just have a disease. And these girls I talk to every single day. We go to meetings together all the time. They've become my best friends in a very short amount of time. I was doing myself such a disservice by having that terminal uniqueness that no one was going to understand where I was coming from, just because no one around me did, but I didn't try and meet other sober people or go to meetings. I always thought I was just going to meet someone who was worse than me and that would deter me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I would go and I would hear someone say an experience about something I had nothing in common with. And I would be like, oh, then I'm good. Like, I'm not that bad. But that's not what I discovered.
I've often discovered that there's people worse than me, and there's also a lot of people who are not as bad. But I also discovered that when I went to AA, it's not about who drank the most, who sniffed the most, or anything like that. It's about changing my way of thinking and living an amazing life.
All the feelings are the same.
Yeah.
Like, I shared recently, and like I gave I guess a comprehensive overview. It was my first share. It wasn't a groundbreaking share, but it was a good one. It was you can't really mess up your own story. And there was a guy in there who seemingly he and I would have nothing in common. Like, he was in all leather. He had done time. Like, he was covered in tattoos. He's like, you and I look like we have nothing in common, but most of what you just said, I related to. And like, that was a moment that because I kind of just thought I was like a party girl. I was like, no, I'm just like really fun. And like, people like hanging out with me and people like drinking with me. It's like, no, you're actually an addict, and you think like an addict and you act like an addict. So like, you're like shoulder to shoulder with people that like in the real world you wouldn't have like anything in common with. And we're all there for the same reason.
Yeah. What has your last couple of months looked like in sobriety? What are you doing differently?
Everything differently. I tried to do the dry drunk thing where I was like, I'm just going to keep my same life, just no drugs or alcohol. And that's when I went to AA, when I realized that wasn't working. I do like everything differently. I go to meetings almost every day. I have a sponsor. I'm doing the 12 steps. I've made a ton of friends in the program. My life has just changed. I can't imagine if I was still drinking where I would be. Probably nowhere good, maybe dead. I'm nothing like I was when I was drinking, in the best way. I still have fun. I can still go out and hang out with my friends, but like, I do have to set boundaries sometimes. I'm like, it's not that I don't want to hang out with you guys. It's that I don't want to be around alcohol. And like, if you guys can just be understanding that sometimes I like don't want to go out, not because I don't want to see you, but you guys can go to bars and you guys can hang out. Like, I can't do that anymore, nor do I want to. I don't want to spend my time having my ear gnawed off by some drunk guy who's trying to buy me a drink and like doesn't understand that I'm sober. Like, no thanks.
You said you work in tech, right?
Advertising.
Mm-hmm. What's that like? I feel like there's a lot of drinking in advertising.
My team is pretty young, but like, I set the precedent at our first happy hour. Like, I don't drink. And they all know about my social media presence and everything. Like,
got it.
My coworker yesterday was like, you're the most famous person I know. They're like on board. A lot of them are young. So, and I don't think any of them listened to my last podcast. So I'm kind of like, it's a little dark.
Which one? The one with Kevin?
The one with Kevin. But yeah, they're like super supportive of this for me too. Like, at first I just was like, oh, I don't drink. And now I'm like, no, I'm a full blown like raging alcoholic and I can't drink.
Well, I'll say this. When I started this a couple months ago, I was so excited to do Kevin interviewed me for my first episode. And I was like so excited to just fucking dump my shit from my whole life, because I found it really freeing and cathartic and therapeutic for me. But what came of it was even greater, was that the amount of people that reached out to me that were like, hey, I'm going through this. Nobody knows. I'm doing the same shit you were doing. I feel the same way you felt. You're helping me more than you could believe. Like, what do you think I should do? Or blah, blah, blah. And like, as it's gone on and I've continued to share more and more about like really fucked up things that like, I'm sure there's a ton of people who watch my clips about, me talking about like what I was doing to my family when I was gambling or when I was drinking and drugging, that are probably like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? Yeah. And then there's a ton of people that watch the clips that are like, oh my God, that used to be me. Oh my God, I feel the same way right now. So I think you should be really proud of yourself. Thank you. Because I think as time goes on, you're going to see that there's a lot of people that you're going to help. And it's going to become part of your identity. Yeah, I mean, it already is. I've been making content since like April. I have girls, I mean, a lot of people, but mostly young girls
DM me every single day. Some of them I've been like, come back and share your date count, or they're like, you inspired me to get sober. Like all these incredible messages from people. It's been amazing. I know like how big the impact is, but I know that there are so many more people that I'm helping that I don't know. Like I got a DM recently and she was like, hi, I can't follow you or like your stuff because I don't want anyone to know, but like your stuff has been really helping me and like, thank you. So like the impact is even larger than I even know. And this has made my sobriety so much more rewarding, like being able to pay it forward. It's an act of service. This has transformed my sobriety, like not the kind of getting out of myself and just helping other people. And like the lessons that I share with other people it's actually what I'm going through. Like if I post something, I posted something the other day and it was like things you'll experience in early sobriety, like struggles, right? It's everything I've gone through and I am currently going through. And people are like, this resonates so much. And that's because I'm not making this stuff up. It's my exact experience. And I think it's really important for people to see that alcoholics are like normal people. Like we have a disease. Like I'm not an alcoholic because of the way that I was raised or the college that I went to. I'm an alcoholic because I have a disease.
Yeah.
It's not a character defect, which I had to learn because I always thought there was something wrong with me. I always thought I was a bad person. I was always frustrated with myself. I was always hating myself. And I don't want to live that way anymore. Like, why would I stay in the same shame that I had when I was an alcoholic now that I'm sober? I didn't do all of this work, get sober and do all this just to like feel ashamed about it. Like, this is fucking awesome. I feel like a superhero. If you can like overcome addiction, you can legitimately do anything.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people need to understand that having alcoholism isn't a character defect. It is a disease, scientifically classified, whatever the professional fucking term for it is. But our character defects are what cause people like us to drink and use.
Yeah.
And that was another major shift for me in my sobriety. It was like, I'm not drinking. I crossed the line of I drink and drug for fun. Like I don't drink and drug for fun anymore. I drink and drug because I feel like such a piece of shit. And it's the only solution I have for like my thinking and turning my mind off.
Yeah.
I love your posts are very like raw and authentic and just kind of what's on your mind. I think that really resonates with a lot of people. Curious, what are your suggestions for some young women out there right now who are struggling, trying to get sober, have those fears? It may not be fun, or I'm never going to find, girlfriends that I like in sobriety. What do you think? What's a good piece of advice for them right now?
You won't know unless you try. I didn't know that this world existed until I got sober. The sobriety is a reward for all of your hard work. I think I treated it as a punishment in the beginning, and that's not the case. Like, you will be rewarded over time for putting in the work and making changes to yourself. Every day that you don't drink, like, you are advancing at a rapid rate. Like, I've grown more in this year than I would in 10 years if I was drinking. I also think the things that have helped me the most are community. Like, talk to someone every day who's an alcoholic or an addict. It'll make you feel so much less alone. Make friends, join the program. Like, really, I guess I'm not really supposed to promote the program, but I'm going to.
You promote it. I promote it.
It's changed my life. Like, I can't imagine not having it. And I would also say, like, self-study. Like, even just look up facts about alcoholism, addiction, substance abuse disorder, alcohol use disorder. Look up all of this, how bad alcohol is for you. Like, it'll make you feel so much better. Like, when I stopped drinking, my mom was like, you're better off anyway. Like, this stuff is poison. And now that I've learned everything that I know, I don't think it would have stopped me from drinking, because I don't think I cared how bad it was for me. It gave me relief, and that's all I cared about. But, like, learn everything there is to know about it. It'll make you feel better, and it'll make you feel less alone. For some reason, I didn't think anyone else was an alcoholic. Like, there's so many people with this disease. It's just absurd that I was so ill-informed too. I was talking to my friends about this the other day. Like, the DARE program sucks. I'm sorry. Like, they tell you that your biggest concerns should be drinking and driving, which they tell you this in middle school when that's not a concern. And you don't get your license, depending on where you live, like, you're 16, 17. You're in college. A lot of people don't have cars in college. We're walking to frats. And then like I live in New York, drinking and driving is not a concern for me.
Yeah.
Right? We have Uber too. And then they tell you that weed is the gateway drug. I wasn't doing whippets and cocaine off of a kind pen.
Yeah.
It was alcohol.
Yeah.
Like those programs need to change. Maybe I'll change them. I don't know. But
never know. Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit.
Speaking on the program.
Sorry, I have to add this. Somebody DM'd me the other day and said, does this apply to beer and wine? Like, nobody knows anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, it is liquor.
Yeah.
I was just like, ugh.
I think the problem is that there's a lot of information out there now, and it's very accessible, and like you can go on TikTok and you can go on Instagram and you can see all this information, and there's really no way of knowing if it's true or not.
Yeah.
So you can go on TikTok, and there was this like a couple of weeks ago, I don't know what happened with my feed, and it was just my For You page was just people shitting on AA and being like, it's a fucking cult. These people are crazy. It actually doesn't work, because why would you want to surround yourself with people who are constantly relapsing and like these new people? And it was like this one chick, and I honestly spent about 3 hours of her taking up rent in my head, and I was like going off on her on TikTok, and she wasn't answering me back, and I was just like, okay, what am I doing? I need to stop this. But regardless, I think the truth of the matter is that there are a lot of ways to get sober. But I think the whole point of a podcast is to bring people on who have different experiences. And my experience and your experience is that if you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I get some heat about the promotion of the program and stuff, but it's like, it's out there. People know about it. So why not talk about how it has positively benefited us? And like, I don't claim that I am perfect. I'm not a perfect member of Alcoholics Anonymous, but Alcoholics Anonymous is a perfect program, period.
Yeah, I think even just like the way that I did it, like you're also, no matter, being sober in this world is controversial anyway.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Someone, like people have been commenting, I made a video the other day about like, it was like an AA fit check, like what I was wearing. And all I said was, I'm going to an AA meeting. And people were like, 11th step, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I'm like, you're disclosing your own, like you're in the comments. Like if you really care that much about your anonymity, don't comment then. Or like people are like, oh, you're 13 stepping. Why are you going dressed like that? I'm like, first of all, it's a women's meeting. Second of all, not my problem. Like some people who are like that maybe they're not happily sober. I'm happily sober. And I would love to show other people my age that you can go to an AA meeting at my age.
And live an amazing life and have fun.
And I have a friend who only went to, like, we're all friends now. I have a friend who only went to AA because she saw our other friend going to AA on a TikTok. And she was like, well, this young, cool, normal girl is going to AA. Maybe I should go. She went. Someone DM'd me the other day and they were like, is AA expensive? Like, I just don't, I want to go, but I can't afford it. It's like, why do people not know it's free?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, hopefully people like us can spread the message and give some people some hope. Before we wrap up, one piece of advice for someone who's watching right now, who's still sick and suffering. It's the first thing they need to do right now to change their life.
This is a good piece of advice someone else gave me. Give sobriety as many chances as you gave alcohol. You kept going back to it over and over and over and over and again, no matter what. And like, if you can't just give up on sobriety just because it's like hard in the beginning, or you didn't feel good one day.
I like that one. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Well, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. I'm going to attach Neva's socials in the link in the description of this episode. And if you are a female who's trying to get sober, or you are in recovery, give her a follow. And thank you for watching.